elaborate people. Here's another wee video for you, showing how all these frauds and grifters floating about YouTube are all connected. But first I wanted to look at a couple of the claims by one of the biggest frauds, Shaun Attwood. You'll remember seeing this, which is the thumbnail for the TED talk that he did, claiming that he was facing 200 years. And for unsuspecting viewers, it's probably one of the most enticing adverts to get people in to have a look. But here is an excerpt from an article that Shaun Attwood's dad had written for the Prisoners Abroad charity. And in that he states that on the 16th of May 2002, the day that Shaun was arrested, he had come off the phone to tell his wife and daughter that their son was facing 25 years in an American prison. So you need to look at that for a minute and think, how would they know that he was facing 25 years? Shaun probably, most likely, never spoke to them on the phone. His first day in, he's probably still in shock. He wouldn't have known what hit him. The best placed person to make that comment on the phone to Shaun's dad that day would have been probably a lawyer who's probably dealt with these cases before. So 25 years seems like a reasonable assumption. But then Shaun goes on and states that in the course of his trial the prosecutor threatened to stack the charges, in which case he would be facing 200 years. I had a look at those charges and I stacked them up, so even if he was being given the maximum on each and individual charge, I think I added up to something like 57 years, 60 years, something like that. So this is obviously another embellishment of the facts by Shaun Attwood in order to get his fake story out there and deceive the good people on YouTube. The guy that left this comment, which was left unanswered by the way, he seemed quite shocked that Shaun was originally facing 25 years. And this seems to be a consistent part of the story. Whenever anything was questioned or raised, the comment would just go left unanswered. But another thing I wanted to touch on, you'll remember the heads on spikes story. Here's a snapshot of a conversation Shaun had with one of the guards. She says, "At least you're not in a prison in England. I imagine they're worse. Some of them are like dungeons built centuries ago. They cut prisoners' heads off and put them on sticks outside the prisons. They don't still do that, do they?" Shaun then replied laughing, "No, but they did back in the old days." Him laughing there shows that he knows how ridiculous that comment was, but he still went ahead and used it to add to a story that was already full of bullshit. Could go on all day, sitting here unpicking all his bullshit, but we'll move on. So there's a certain YouTuber, she's come out trying to entrap, bully and intimidate this channel, but bear in mind, this is a much smaller channel than hers, so it begs the question, why has she gone to the effort of trawling through 7 months worth of emails to find one that she could then publish? I'd sent her a private email in January this year and she thought nothing of it to go and dig it out and publish it on the internet along with my email address. So I quickly responded, and I'll show you the conversation now, but you'll see straight away that she goes into threatening me with Police Scotland and how she's going to report me to them. She was told then, fuck Police Scotland, I don't give a fuck what they say. Unless an actual crime's been committed, then they're not going to be interested. Unless disagreeing with a Scouse YouTuber is a crime these days. And saying that, we live in the UK in 2021, so anything's possible. I've just been looking at my phone while recording this, and I've noticed that she's gone in and removed 2 of my comments in this conversation from my Facebook page. Does she really think that's going to work? Removing comments to make it look like I'm the instigator? How evil and vindictive can you be to go and target small YouTube channels and try and make it look like you're being cyberbullied just to further that fake cyberbullying campaign you've got on your own page? Tell you what, you best get up early in the morning to get one over on me. Did you really think I wouldn't notice this? I'm just a fucking sad old individual. Go and get a fucking hobby or something that doesn't involve the internet. Because when you start going back on what you said or twisting what you said, then people are going to call you up on it.
That is a very offensive word. against spastics. There's never a context which makes hate speech allowable, which there isn't.
A lot of people were offended by that comment, and rightly so. Just before I let you go, I want to show people how much of a bullshitter you are. In one of your videos you stated that regarding hate speech it's the intention of the person, and then in another one you said it's not, it's the way the person perceives it. Like, you want to make up your mind, but listen to this.
You have to listen to the intention behind what people mean by using a word, not so much as the law defines how you receive the word. That's the way I look about it, because the person who's hearing it decides it is. They're the one that make the decision. Intent does not come into it, because you get everyone that was coming out with any kind of homophobia, racism, transphobia, whatever, anti-Semitism. They just turn around and say, oh, I didn't mean it that way, and they get on with it, where actually it's how it's perceived by those hearing what's being said. That's what decides whether it's a hate crime or not.
So which is it? The intention or the perception? Because I'm fucking confused. So just before we finish up, I wanted to touch on some of Attwood's TV work that he's been doing, some of the connections that he's got. There is a lot to go through, so I'm just going to touch on it for now. I'll go into it in more detail in another video later on. Take from this what you will, people. The one that caught my attention here was this one, the International False Rape Timeline. It's a series of short videos with quite disturbing titles, and most likely equally disturbing content. So I had a look at the cast. You can join the dots yourself. You'll be able to see some of the characters that all these people have contacts through, shall we say. It looks like they're all linked in more ways than one. Might just be an innocent TV project or two. Either way, I'm sure we'll get to the bottom of it. Right, I'm going to have to go, stuck for time, so I'll leave this for your perusal and I'll catch up with you soon. Cheers for watching.